birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday, Dodong. Blow your candle. Hey, happy birthday. Thank you.
Hi everyone, today we are going for our boat cruise. We're waiting. There you go. Sisi Dodong. Sobrang init guys. Ngayon, we are going to the boat. And guys. Hello. Good morning. Where are we gonna sit, Dong?
Huh? You want to sit on top or?
You find our seat then. No, is there a seat number?
No.
Is there a seat number?
No, there's no seat number.
No? No, there's a seat number. Seat number 2. I would like to sit here because it's not. Can you ask him?
No, there's no seat number.
Oh, we should sit here then.
Just anywhere, like.
You know, he was ahead of his time in his living room creating the Sanborn sessions for us and getting together some amazing musicians to do just that. At sanbornsessions.com or on his Instagram page as well.
Dito ako sa may shed kasi magbablog-vlog ko no ako and ayaw ko nang mainit. Si Dodong, nandun si Dodong. That's Dodong. And ako dito lang sa gilid para makapag-concentrate. There you go. Take picture, I'll take video.
His name was Kikiwaha in Potawatomi. In not Potawatomi, it was Mrs. Jean-Baptiste Portishead. And Persian didn't. He stopped selling laundry detergent. He switched to chewing gum and built that beautiful building. And by the way, the clock tower is a copy of the Geralda clock tower, 15th century Seville. Passing a building with a fidelity sign on it. That is totally opposite from the beautiful ornate work. That is mid-century modern, and they call mid-century modern the international style because you can pick that building up and put it in any city. There's nothing about that building.
It looks like we went to museum.
1965, Skidmore, Owens and Merrill, and the lead architect was Natalie Dubois, a woman architect, 1965, very unusual. Now, we're going under the bridge named after that first settler, the DeSable Bridge. All the bridges that we're going to go under today, and we're going to go under 24 different bridges, all of them are trunnion bascule bridges. A trunnion is an axle. A bascule is the French word for seesaw, teeter-totter. In the bridge houses on either side of the bridge, locks on it, and the weight was bad. So they started putting locks on that one too, and then they had to be cut off. It's It's very dangerous. Now, there's a building directly on your left, beautiful building with a belvedere on the top. Building was completed in 1923. Alfred Anschauer was the architect. It was the home of the London Guarantee Insurance Company, which was an insurance company that insured all the barges that were going back and forth. So it was great. They just looked out the window and said, okay, barge here, check it off. I am proud it's now a hotel called the London House. And they wanted more room in the London House, so they added this very, very modern addition so that they would have more hotels. By the way, the restaurants in the London House are in the very top level where the Corinthian columns are, and anybody can go in and eat. The restaurants are good, the view is incredible, so it's worth it. Now, speaking of views, there's a tall tower directly on our left. That's the Mather Tower, designed by Riddle and Riddle. You can also go up into that tower. It was completed in 1928. The elevator doesn't go all the way up. Classic Chicago architecture. The building directly opposite us, again on the left-hand side, with all the white columns and all that mirrored glass, that goes back to 1992. And the architect was Ricardo Bofill, a Catalan architect. And look what he put on top. He put the Parthenon. So I call that building Parthenon on a stick, and everybody knows to pay attention to the Parthenon. In fact, the building, also coming up on your left, the building next door, pays homage to the Parthenon. Look at the all-mirrored building directly opposite us. The highest slit, the slit that's at the very top, is exactly the same height as the Parthenon.
Oh my
The
God.
wide slit is the same height as the shoulders of the next building. Building was completed in 2013. Gary Handel was the architect. Let's talk about the building with the shoulders, because that's sort of weird. Building
Not
with
a
the shoulders.
restaurant.
Halberd and Root completed in 1930. Now, why it looks like that is because in 1923, the city passed an ordinance, and the ordinance said, you want to build a tall tower, go right ahead, no problem. But your tower has to be skinny. It can only occupy 1/4 of your site. France picked up that idea from southern France. Mansard roof makes it look like one building. Now there's another contextual building coming up on our left. The building with the porthole. That is designed to sit right there. Why do I say that? Because look at the very top. There's a bridge and we're going under a bridge. The building was designed by Cohen and Epstein, and it was completed in 1989. Now, it's also a salute to Frank Lloyd Wright, because if you go to the very top and you go down about 1/6 of the building, there is a round plate sitting on a rectangle. That's a salute to Frank Lloyd Wright. Frank Lloyd Wright loved to do circles and rectangles, so that's a little bit of an homage to him. Cohen, Pedersen, and Fox were obviously Frank Lloyd Wright supporters. 1989, that building was completed. The next building, very contextual, it's curving along the banks of the river. That building sits on the curve, beautiful blue and green glass, wonderful building. Openings of portholes, and you look closely and you see fans in the portholes. That's because the trains are behind that wall in a tunnel, and the fans are pushing the smoke and the discharges from the trains. So once the tunnel was built and the trains were put in the tunnel, then the architects could design a beautiful building. And that building was designed by Picard and Chilton, again parabolic curves. And then they also designed the area, so it's a beautiful walk area with restaurants and the sculpture. And then look what's going on the left-hand side. 2002. Few years pass, the river gets cleaned up, and now you have townhomes embracing the river with their front lawns on the river. This is called Kinsey Park. It's a gated community. You park your car in the rear and everybody gets a front lawn. And notice that there's a river walk because we mandated the river walk. We said, if you build on the river, the wind force. Look at this white building. He's got the upside down V's going all the way up it. Wind bracing. It's called an echo structure. The structure is on the outside, supporting the building. It might remind you a little about the building that used to be called the John Hancock, which has X's going all the way out. So this is half an X. But the idea is the same, that you put the skeleton on the outside to reinforce the building. 2002, that was completed. Lucian Lagrange was the architect, and he also designed the one next to it, the white building with the green, 2004. The building coming up on your right-hand side, the one page, you say, if you're unhappy with your merchandise, you can return it for a full money-back guarantee. Unheard of in those days. In 1900, nobody gave a full money-back guarantee, so his catalog became very popular. 50 pages, 100 pages. By the time he moved in 19... The building is under mid-century modern, international style. The 1965 Skid Row, no ornamentation, very plain looking building. And Skidmore, Owings and Merrill named that building Gateway Park. And its twin sister, exactly the same building, exactly the same look. It was completed in 1968, and Skidmore, a pyramid-shaped roof. And on top of the pyramid is the statue of a woman. She was designed by John Storrs, and her name is Ceres, goddess of grain. Ceres, goddess of grain. And why is she on the roof? That was the Chicago Board of Trade, and that's where we traded futures on grain, futures on livestock. All of that trading was done in the building. And Ceres is the goddess of grain because in the morning you eat cereal. Goddess of grain. And the building is constructed. The wind will hit it. The building will sway a little bit, but it will stay solid. Us humans have a problem. We don't like it when buildings sway. We don't like it when you put a pencil down on your desk and it rolls off to be in a building that sways. So how do you control the sway of a building that sways? On the roof of that building are 12 tuned liquid mass dampeners. What? Working in downtown Chicago said to themselves, you know, if we were all in the same location, we'd make more money. Because behind the Sheraton, with very, very rectilinear corners, there is a banquet hall at river length here that comfortably seats 3,000 people at tables. That's the biggest banquet hall in Chicago, and it's on the river end. Now, looking over the Sheraton, you see this glass building. That's the Lowe's Hotel, and every single room in the Lowe's Hotel is named for a Chicago architect. Solomon Cornwell and Benz without rounded corners. These red brick buildings, the Stefano, and only one building, and the rest of it is open for the people. Now we're coming up to Navy Pier.
See, I told you. It's a Navy Pier.
Navy Pier was built in 1916. Frost was the name of the architect. And Frost designed, as you're looking at Navy Pier, the far east end has two twin towers. That's Frost. Well, the pier has had a lot of uses. It was dedicated to the Navy during World War I. During World War II, it was used to train pilots that were learning how to take off and land on aircraft carriers. well, they're not going to put aircraft carriers in Lake Michigan. So what they did was they took barges and they cemented over the deck of the barge, so it was like a landing carrier. And the pilot's gang, studio gang, and that is the tallest residential building in Chicago. Studio Gang is the architectural firm, and Genie Gang is the